is that? Yee! We getting it, boy.
What's good? You know who it is. It's your boy, Jay in the Bay.
Your baller back again. Smells like football season.
Yo! Whoa, whoa!
Faithful Niner Empire. What's good? You know who it is. It's your boy, Jay in the Bay. And welcome back to Straight Out of the Bay. We only have two of us here tonight. To my right, we have Bay Area Baller. Amin the Dream and Kelts Chronicles cannot make it tonight, but hopefully they will get better. But it's a two-man show tonight. We're still going to rock it out. We hope everyone had a great weekend. And it's an incredible 49ers weekend. It's a victory Monday, I should say. The 49ers starting the season off 4-0 with the victory over the division rival Arizona Cardinals, 35-16. But first, Eric, aka Bay Area Baller 18. How are you doing on this victory Monday, man? How are you doing?
Hey, Jay, I'm feeling great. I was at that game yesterday. Shout out to cousin Matt. Hit me up and said, hey, I got some tickets. Let's slide through. I'm going to swoop you up. So shout out to Matt. I was there yelling my tail off. It was a dominant performance. I saved a little bit of the voice because I know we had the show coming up today, but I'm feeling great. The stash is coming in, Jay. As I told you a couple weeks ago, I'm not shaving the stash until the Niners drop a game. If they drop a game.
Right. The stash is growing. It's looking good. Man, that was an incredible victory over the AZ Cardinals. So many, accolades that came from that game, whether it's CMC's touchdowns, Brock Purdy's completion percentage. 49ers scored 30 points again in another game. Like it's exciting to watch 49ers football again. What a time to be alive, right? I mean, watching 49ers football, being a fan. This is, of course, an interactive show. We love the people in the chat, whether you're watching from the Straight Out of the Bay YouTube channel, Jay in the Bay YouTube channel, or Bay Area Baller 18 YouTube channel. Feel free to let us know what you thought about the game. We love seeing people in the comment section. Looks like we have Deneen, we have Daniel in the building. We have NYCE. What's good to everyone that's in the chat right now? We will be reading chat comments all throughout the show. But first, I kind of want to get a generalization from you with the 49ers starting the season 4-0. What's been the most impressive aspect of the 49ers in their current 4-game win streak? What say you?
Just the dominance that they're winning these games with, Jay. I mean, it feels like, I know it was a one-score game in the second half there in the third quarter for a little bit, but it did not feel close at all, right? The Steelers blowout, the Rams, they were in it for a little bit, but 49ers controlled that game. The Giants, domination. Yesterday, domination. It's just the way that the 49ers are winning these games, just the dominant performances. I have a lot of respect for these teams across the league, right? There's a lot of talent. There's a lot of really good coaches. But, man, I feel like the 49ers, they really haven't been tested,
Right.
Not saying that, they haven't played anybody good, but it's just they're just dominating these teams, Jay. And I think that's the biggest surprise to me.
No, absolutely. And I think that's kind of what I've been hearing so far through the first 4 weeks of the season is that the Niners haven't really played anyone, but we know the NFL makes the schedule. We can only beat who's in front of us, and there's still NFL teams. There's not a ton that separates the worst team in the NFL from the best team in the NFL as far as talent. Every team is talented. I think so far the Niners have done what they're supposed to do. We beat the teams who were clearly better than. And I would add that this 49ers defense, it's been really good, but I don't feel like it needs to be dominant. Like I feel like even if the defense allows 17, 20 points, we've been scoring 30. So I feel like the defense doesn't have to necessarily be the best defense in the NFL for us to get to where we want to go, and that's the Super Bowl. So kudos to obviously the 49ers offense, Brock Purdy, CMC, Ayuk. I mean, they definitely stood out. Sorry about that. They definitely they definitely stood out last night, and they've been performing really well. So that's one thing that has stood out within this 4-game win streak. Feel free, those in the chat, feel free to let us know, what was the most impressive aspect of this 49ers current 4-game win streak. Feel free to put those thoughts in the chat. Did you have anything else you wanted to add to that?
Yeah, I also got to add, I know we're going to get into Brock Purdy, but just how freaking good he's been early on, just dicing teams up, throws on the money time after time, taking care of the football, because, we know he was good last year, but just to see how he's keeping that up and he's just playing exceptional football right now. I got to say, I am surprised just at how well, like I know we're going to talk maybe some QB ranks a little bit later, but man, Brock Purdy is playing sensational football.
No, absolutely. No, he is. We'll definitely talk about that. We got 92 in the building. What's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream, and wherever platform you're watching on now, feel free to hit that like button and make sure you subscribe. But just to talk about, let's get into Brock Purdy, man. We got to talk about Mr. Irrelevant. And obviously yesterday in the game, while watching him, Brock Purdy, and watching him work, I just feel like it's easy like a Sunday morning. Shout out to the Commodores. Man, watching him, there's no nervousness. I don't feel any negativity. I don't feel nervous when he gets back and he starts throwing the ball like when number 10 was here. I feel like he makes the right decisions. Usually when he's throwing the rock, there's guys always open. And even when the blitz comes to Purdy, he at the moment isn't too big. Like it doesn't matter. He still makes the right play, whether it's throwing it out of bounds, conserving time, whether it's throwing it to the open receiver. I just feel like he always makes the right play. And so far, I think another thing that was great during this 4-game win streak, we only have one turnover. That's it. And that was a Brock Purdy fumble. So to do that, one turnover in the first 4 games, I mean, that's incredible. That's unheard of. So I really like what I'm seeing from Brock, and it feels like deja vu. Every time I'm watching Brock, I'm like, okay, I've seen him do this before. Can he continue to do this? Obviously, we'll have a great test versus the Dallas Cowboys. But does Brock Purdy have anything else to prove to you? Is Brock Purdy the franchise quarterback, you think, for the Niners going forward?
Brock's the franchise guy, Jay. He is the franchise at this point. And I was sitting back and thinking about it. I think Brock Purdy and Kyle Shanahan, it's just like this perfect marriage. Okay. Because you're talking about, guys are running open. But here's the thing with Brock, Jay. He sees the field so freaking well. He sees those open receivers. Whereas in years past, Jimmy, you watch the all 22 and it's like, BA's wide open, right? And then BA's upset because he didn't get the rock. Jimmy, he had trouble seeing the field. Like Kyle's scheming these guys open, but the QB still has to see it in real time with live bullets, with defensive tackles getting all up in his face and still delivering the football accurately. So Brock, it's just this. He runs this offense so phenomenally. I think it's just the perfect marriage of Brock Purdy, Kyle Shanahan. He's executing it. The kid, he's a playmaker. I felt like he didn't really even need to show like his full display of playmaking yesterday. He really did it. I felt like from within the pocket. Yeah. And but sometimes we've seen, hey, there's a free rusher coming at Brock. Boop, boop, boop. Makes a miss, gets out of the pocket. He's throwing a dime down the field. So Brock, the kid's a playmaker. He can play within structure. And you know what, Jay? He's so freaking smart. He's so smart. I had to go back and check out, they got rid of the Wonderlic test at the combine. They got a new test. It's called the S2. And
Okay.
I forgot what Purdy's score was, so I had to go back and look. He was elite in this S2 test.
Mm.
It makes sense because the kid, he's so freaking smart out there. And yes, this is our franchise guy.
Hey, I believe you. I want to see if he can play a full 16, 17 game season, but all signs are pointing to it. I mean, he's passing every test. Obviously, this season, and we can only play who's on the schedule. I think Dallas will be a great test. I know they lost their cornerback, Diggs, which sucks because I want to play whoever we play at full strength, just how I want us to be at full strength. But we've got some tough games coming up. I think Dallas, not necessarily in this order, but Dallas, I think Cleveland, Minnesota, and I think Cincinnati somewhere in the next 4 to 6 games. So that'll be a great test for not only the offense, but the defense as well. NYCE
I got it right here, not to cut you off, but
okay,
Dallas, Cleveland,
okay.
Minnesota, Cincinnati, and then the bye.
Okay. I was spot on. All right,
Yeah.
Then the bye. Okay. Also, before I read NYCE's comment, I want to say that I feel like the Niners, they looked fresh in the game. They had the 10-day layoff. I know Debo obviously wasn't. I don't even think he really should have played. He wasn't at full strength. But I thought the offense looked fresh. The defense looked good. And I think that 10 days off early on in the season helped them. And then, as you said, a month later from now, we'll have the bye week. NYCE said that the Niners have been playing patience ball. They aren't rushing anything, but letting the game come to them and responding accurately. No, absolutely. Absolutely. David V, what's good? Thanks for coming into the stream tonight. We also have Jag in the building. What's good? Appreciate you guys turning into the stream. 92 says
that. I want to answer Jag. I want to answer Jag because, one of my buddies, we were talking arm strength, and he had said, man, has there been superstar quarterbacks that don't have that, elite or like really good arm strength? And Drew Brees was the first name that came to mind, and Drew Brees is even smaller than Brock Purdy. And then, another example it was Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan had always had a bit of a noodle arm. He didn't have a cannon back there. Yeah. But to answer Jag's question, he does remind me a bit of Drew Brees, from an accuracy perspective, the touch he puts on the football. Drew Brees, Hall of Famer, top 10 all time.
Definitely statistically, right?
Jaguar, I see some of it with Drew Brees.
Man, that's a hell of a comparison. Drew Brees, like you said, Hall of Fame quarterback, won a Super Bowl with the Saints. I'm not going that far, but if we're just saying stature and, like you said, accuracy, I want to see Purdy do it in the playoff stage before I start comparing him to Drew Brees. But hey, he definitely could reach that point with the 49ers. That's for sure. But a great question, Jack. 92 says Purdy has really good rapport with the receivers, but him and BA have something else. They connect. Yeah, let's talk about the Ayuk show, man. I didn't know Ayuk had this in him. I didn't know he was this good. I mean, he led. I don't know if people subscribe to PFF, but he led all 49er players, whether it's offense or defense, as the best player rating. I think it was like 115 or something like that. So BA showed up and showed out. He was making big plays. He was running routes down the field. And as Eric mentioned him, Purdy saw it and actually delivered a throw and executed the pass. So that's something that's good to see, that Shanahan is trusting Purdy to read the field, make the necessary throw, and BA is the beneficiary of that. He's making big plays in the passing game. It's exciting to see. I felt like, unfortunately, we got to compare to number 10. I just felt like we didn't see these plays. We didn't see these routes, or at least being executed. So BA's had a hell of a game yesterday. Obviously, he was battling that shoulder injury, but he had 6 catches, 148 yards. And I didn't see this type of performance coming from BA this season. I'm not going to lie. I mean, what's your impressions of Ayuk so far this season? And hey, the Niners are going to have to pay this man in the offseason, man. So what are your thoughts on him?
Ayuk, he's a star. He
Yeah.
is a star, Jay. And, coming into the year, I don't know if I would have called him a really good receiver. Now I'm saying he's a star. He's winning these routes downfield. You also got to give props to Kyle Shanahan because he's scheming it up. But he's getting so much separation, Jay. I mean, I'm sitting at this game yesterday, and it was like I was having flashbacks. It was like BA 40-yard crosser, BA 30-yard crosser, BA 35-yard crosser. It's like, did I just am I watching this happen over and over again? And my boy's like, yeah. He's just dominating these defensive backs, creating tons of separation, and Purdy's hitting these open throws. So Brandon Ayuk, he is putting himself in the elite tier of wide receivers. When you want to talk Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, BA, he ain't too far behind.
I would agree. I would say he's, top 10, top 12 based off this season alone, based off the first 4 games, I would say, of the best wide receivers in the NFL. And I guess Ayuk just needed a quarterback that can get him the ball consistently for him to shine. And it's great that we're seeing him shine. And hopefully the 49ers can extend him in the offseason. 92 says we're finally starting to see the pass design intelligence of Shanahan. Purdy is the franchise. All right. Hey, I like that. We also have Rick Diaz in the building. What's good? He says, long time no see. It has been a minute. I'm glad you could catch the live. If you guys are enjoying the stream, feel free to hit that thumbs up button and make sure you subscribe to Bay Area Baller and, of course, Jay in the Bay. We appreciate it. We got to talk about this defense. I thought they played pretty well. Did they give up some plays? I mean, I think they gave up 2 90-yard plus drives. And I thought the cool thing about that was it really didn't matter. As long as the Niners can score over 30, it really doesn't matter. If the Niners can hold teams to 20 points or less, I think we're going to be in every game. But did any player stand out to you and actually we'll come back to that, but did any player on defense stand out to you at all? Anyone that would, deserve a game ball?
Absolutely. Okay. Being at the game, one thing coming into the game, when I'm there's some things that I want to lock in on. And one of them was the D line. I wanted to see if we were going to use that 5-man front that we had been mixing in, right? It's relatively new. I didn't see it at all yesterday. I didn't see any of the 5-man front. But that being said, I was still locked in on the D line. And the guy who jumped out to me watching from the sideline was Javon Hargrave. This dude was a menace. He was pushing the pocket. That left guard for the Cardinals is going to have nightmares because he could not block Javon Hargrave. He was just bullying him all game long. He had a sack, and it was just numerous times he was just collapsing the pocket. And Josh Dobbs, I got to be honest, I thought Dobbs actually played pretty good. I thought Dobbs did well, not a ton of talent, in the wide receiver room or even along that offensive line. So I thought Dobbs played pretty well. But Javon Hargrave, to me, it was the best defensive performance because he was just collapsing the pocket, just dominating that left guard. So, I mean, defensive game ball, I'm giving it to Hargrave.
And I thought, I liked what I saw from AZ. I thought, like you said, Dobbs, I thought he played well. He used his mobility to his advantage when he needed to. It was a ballsy play on their part. On a 4th down, they went for a fake punt and they got the first down.
I was getting some chicken tenders. I tried to sneak out before half. And
you were like, what the hell's going on?
It was like, dude, the Cardinals just went for it. My buddy's filling me in. Shout out cousin Matt. He said, hey, they just went for a 4th down fake punt. Like they were way backed up, right? Were they at their 10 or 15 yard line?
I think they were maybe, they were on there. So they were like 20, 30, something like that. Yeah. Okay. They weren't past the 50 yet. Yeah. So.
Wow.
Yeah, that was a ballsy call on their part. James Conner, I don't care what anyone says, that is a tough man to bring down. I mean, he's got to be 6'2", 225. I know him and Huff got into it after the game, but that's the type of game I like to see. It's a division game. Both teams hitting. I know you saw it firsthand. Those guys were out there hitting. And I think one of their receivers, the Cardinals, from Stanford, I think he had 2 touchdown catches. What's his name? Michael Wilson.
Yeah.
Seven catches, 76 yards. He played pretty well. Marquise Brown, a speedy, shifty wide receiver. Those types of guys always give the Niners trouble, and I thought he played well. But yeah, my defensive game ball, I would say Fred. I think he was nothing I hadn't seen before. He was his usual self, led the team with 10 total tackles. But I just like to see Fred flying all over the field. And I just thought he played pretty well. And as a whole, the defense only gave up, 16 points. And as I said before, if they can do that every game, 20, 21 points, 24 points, I think this Niners defense will be fine. And I feel like we haven't seen them play their best yet. I know Javon Hargrave got a sack, and that's great. We still haven't seen Bosa really unleash with that 2-3 sack game. I'm still waiting on that. But I think overall, we played pretty well on defense. So my game ball would go to Fred Warner. Anyone in the chat, feel free. We're going to go back to the offensive side of the ball. I forgot to ask you, E, about your offensive game ball, but we'll go back to that. And everyone in the chat, if you had a particular player that stood out to you in yesterday's game versus the Cardinals, feel free to put that player's name in the chat, whether it's offense, defense. Go ahead and give us both players on either side of the ball. So let's go to the offensive game ball. I guess I'll go first. Where do you begin? I think I'm gonna go with number 13, Brock Purdy, who continues to impress. 20 of 21. I don't remember the last time a Niners quarterback only had 1 incompletion. And even though he's played a dozen games, it doesn't look like it. Like, he looks like a crafty veteran. His teammates respect him. The coach believes in him. I mean, what can I say? He makes all the right decisions. He hasn't made the big turnover. And I think that's kind of one thing that separates him from number 10 is he doesn't make that big mistake. And he's conscious. Like you said, E, he's very, very smart. He's conscious of the small things. Oh, let me throw this ball away to conserve time right before the half so we can get Moody in here for a field goal kick. Let me throw the ball away instead of trying to force the ball, into a tight area where it could get intercepted. And he's seeing the big routes. One thing in this game yesterday, the 49ers didn't win the time of possession. I think we were like a minute less than what the Cardinals had. And I think part of that reason is the Niners have the ability to score fast, whether it's CMC having a big run, whether it's Ayuk getting 25, 30-yard catches. So the defense may have to be on the field a little bit longer. But I think this team can win running the ball, having a 15, 17 play drive, or scoring in 5 plays. So I think we've seen this
new.
Yeah.
Which is new, Jay.
Yeah.
Well, not a ton of these chunk plays, at least not in the passing game, coming from 10. But now with 13, the chunk plays, man, yesterday they were in abundance.
And the chunk plays aren't Debo catching the ball behind the line of scrimmage and running for 50, 60. Like, I feel like we still have that in the bag, but we don't necessarily have to rely on that. We can hit Ayuk deep. I love that he's included Kittle in this offense. I know he didn't have a big game yesterday, but before that, Kittle had some big plays. I think Kittle had a huge catch on 4th down in this game, and that's something that I love, that Kyle Shanahan is aggressive on 4th down. So my offensive game ball, Brock Purdy. Who you got?
Man, I gotta go. I gotta take the cop. It's not a cop out, but Christian McCaffrey. I got the shirt on, Jay. He had the 4 touchdowns. We up in the stands, all of us wanted him to get that 5th one. Hey, get him one more, Kyle, because Christian McCaffrey, he's a legitimate MVP candidate at this point. I think Brock is in there as well, if I'm not mistaken, because when you're giving out MVPs, it's got to be on a good team. It's got to be on a great team. Okay, a team that makes the playoffs. So right now, Christian McCaffrey, he's my favorite for the MVP. His vision, his decisiveness, he's not wasting time. When he gets the rock, Jay, he's hitting the hole. He's got great vision. He's just so well-rounded. And yesterday I thought he was a bit of a safety blanket for Brock in the passing game. Caught 7 passes for 71 yards. And that's when, hey, Brock's going through. He'll go 1-2. If it's not there, okay, he knows right where McCaffrey's going to be in the flat. And CMC, more often than not, he's going to make the first guy miss and get you, 5 to 10 yards.
Yeah.
So McCaffrey, I thought he was spectacular. I got to give him my game ball. But the one who I was debating on giving it to, besides Christian, was Kyle Shanahan. Felt like it was a really good game for Kyle. We talked about he's scheming up Brandon Ayuk wide open on these crossers, the run game. You know what? I got to shout out the offensive line and the offensive line coach, Chris Forrester. I mean, Chris Forrester, you could give him a game ball because I thought the way these guys blocked, you could see pulling guards, whether it's Banks or Burf or even Trent Williams got out on one, and he's blocking in space. So really, there's a plethora of these guys on offense you could give the game ball to. Kyle, I thought he was on his A game, but I got to go with CMC, man. The MVP.
Yeah, CMC has been incredible. I know Skip Bayless says, 11 from heaven in regards to Micah Parsons, but I think Christian McCaffrey is really, really from heaven. I know he starred at Stanford. It's great to have him back in the Bay Area, repping the red and gold with the Niners. And, that was a hell of a trade for John Lynch to pull off in getting CMC. And I know there was a lot of, did you overpay for an often injured running back? But I think it's definitely paid off so far. And he's leading all running backs in, the running back categories. For instance, he's first in rushing touchdowns with 6, first in rushing yards with 549. He's averaged 117 rushing yards per game, which is first. And he's also has 7 total touchdowns, which leads all running backs through the first month of the season. So he's having an incredible year. And I know we got some people that play fantasy football. I mean, if you got CMC on your squad, I know you're pretty happy with his production. That's for sure. So, yeah, CMC, hell of a back. I got to ask you, I've been asking some of my family members who aren't Niners fans, is CMC the best running back in the NFL? And they all look at me side-eyed and making excuses that we've got all this abundance of talent. So in your opinion, is CMC the best running back in the NFL? If you could choose any back, would you choose CMC?
Yes. I'm picking Christian McCaffrey. I'll tell you, the only other guy who I might have even considered, and he got injured a couple of weeks ago, Nick Chubb. I love Nick Chubb. I think he's just just a pure runner of the ball. I think Nick Chubb is better than McCaffrey, but McCaffrey gives you so much more because you can put him in the slot and he's Wes Welker.
Right.
Like it's just he's got that rare ability with the ball in his hands, the coordination to make these catches, make guys miss. So I love Chubb. He's banged up. Hopefully he'll get back because I'm just a big fan of his. But Christian McCaffrey, he's the best back in the game right now.
Hey, I would agree with you wholeheartedly. 92. Appreciate the comments, man. Yeah, I have a YouTube channel, Jay in the Bay. Feel free. You can subscribe to me there. I appreciate that, man. Appreciate your support. KD, what's good? How you doing tonight, KD? Hope all is well. KD says hello, Jay in the Bay and Bay Area baller. We got to get into some injury news that occurred. I saw a report about an hour ago. So you were at the game. I didn't even know he was in the game. John Feliciano. What was he playing?
I got to be honest. That one slipped past me. I did not see Big John in the game. I can't give you much there.
Can't give you much. Well, they say he suffered a concussion during the game, so it could have been on special teams, um, or maybe
Like
in
a
garbage
like
time
a
along the
field
offensive
goal
line.
unit. I imagine he's
Right,
out
right.
there, for like field goals. You're right. Yeah, and some special
Could have been
teams
could have been
there.
something like that. So Debo Samuel, he still got the ribs and knee issue. Kyle Shanahan said that he is day to day. So I would imagine he'd probably be limited all week. Won't
He didn't
practice
look
much.
right. He
No, he
didn't
did.
look right. Just, I
No.
mean, he didn't do too much. Didn't catch a ball. They gave him a few handoffs,
Yeah.
and he didn't finish it in typical Debo fashion. Usually at the end of these runs, Debo is seeking out contact,
Mm-hmm.
trying to just run somebody over. I didn't see that yesterday, which maybe, with a bad knee, maybe you don't want to do that. But you could
Yeah.
just tell Debo, he didn't quite look fully like himself. So,
Yeah. Why? I know, it's a short season compared to all the other leagues. It's only 17 games. But if he's not right, why play him? I mean, I guess because he still is a threat when he's out there. But if he ain't right, using him kind of like as a decoy, does that really? I mean, he could further injure himself if he's out there. I mean, I just feel like if you're not right, at least 90%, why go out there and play, especially a position at the skill position? It's different, I guess, if you're a lineman or whatever. But do you think he should have played? I mean, what do you think?
Probably not. But then again, if Debo's saying, "Hey, I can play," I'm good to go. I mean,
Right.
this Cardinals team did just beat the Cowboys,
Mm,
so one of your
fair.
best players is saying, "Hey, I'm good to go."
Yeah.
I would probably roll him out there too.
Right. And there's nothing. It doesn't appear there's obviously nothing torn, nothing broken. So I guess if he says he can go, hey, you let the player make that decision. We have Randy Daytona and Bryant Cope in the building. What's good? Appreciate you guys tuning in tonight. Running back Elijah Mitchell. He adds to the running back talent room, but unfortunately, the brother just can't stay healthy. Unfortunately, he got injured in practice leading up to the game, and it's a knee injury. Nothing's torn, nothing's broken, but he's also listed as day to day. So I'd imagine he wouldn't practice much, but it would be nice to see a healthy Elijah Mitchell with CMC in the backfield. I think that could be an even deadlier running game. I know we saw JP Mason out there. Still TDP, he's been inactive the first 4 weeks, right? I don't think he's been
I
in.
haven't seen any
Yeah.
TDP.
So, well, yeah. So hopefully he'll come back because that is a running back that Kyle Shanahan, I feel, trusts. And I know JP Mason got some carries. He even caught a ball out the backfield yesterday. So that was good to see. Jawan Jennings didn't play in the game yesterday. He's got a shin injury. I don't know if he got that in the game last week, but he did not play, and he's also listed as day to day. So that's another player to watch for throughout the week. And hopefully, I think we're going to need him versus Dallas. That's for sure. Jawan Jennings. So hopefully he'll be able to suit up.
Jawan's big time. I mean, we see him come up with these clutch catches, third and Jawan. But hey, we got to shout out Ronnie Bell, Ray McLeod, because those guys are filling in for Jawan admirably. Ronnie Bell had the big game against the Giants, but I know Ray made some plays, caught a ball or two yesterday. Ronnie Bell caught a couple balls. So, Bell and Ray are filling in admirably, but Jawan's a weapon, man, against man coverage in that slot. Jawan's just so slippery. He's not the fastest guy, but he's just so savvy at the line. Like his releases, I've seen him, he just burns DBs right off the line with his release, and then he stacks them and he separates. So it's like, yeah, you're right. I would love to have Jawan here coming up against the Cowboys.
Yeah, and another great thing about Juwan, he's got reliable hands. He kind of reminds me a little bit of a Kendrick Bourne, but hopefully we'll be able to keep him after the end of the season. And there's no doubt he's valuable, especially not only in the passing game on third downs, but also in the run game. Just like all the wide receivers with the Niners, you got to be able to block. If you don't block, you're not gonna get on the field. So. He excels in that area as well, run blocking. Jag says, "Is it time for Shanahan to make Mason RB2?" Well, he was there yesterday, but and if Mitchell's healthy, I think Mitchell gets the nod for RB2. What say you?
Yeah, I think so too. If Mason, he didn't quite seize the moment. Going back to my Eminem phrase, he didn't seize it yesterday. Relatively quiet. 3 carries, 10 yards. So it's like if you're going to steal the job, if you're going to take over that RB2 role from Eli Mitchell, you got to make some more plays. Not saying I think JP Mason can, and I think he will, but he hasn't quite shown it quite enough to leap Eli Mitchell in the depth chart when Eli's healthy. I thought Mitchell looked good last week. I thought he was running hard. I know he had like a 18-yard scamper against the Giants. So it's getting close to Jaguayo, but I would still have Eli Mitchell a little bit ahead on the pecking order.
Yeah, I would agree. When healthy, I think Elijah Mitchell is better, but that's a that's a phrase we always have to say, unfortunately, with Elijah Mitchell, if he's healthy. So, we'll see. But I think all three backs will get some time. I would love to see TDP in there, but obviously JP Mason contributes on special teams, so that kind of cuts out TDP for that third spot. We have David McNiner, another 49er content creator in the building. What's good? Appreciate you tuning into the stream, David. We also have Fable, JVC. Appreciate you tuning in. Hope all is well. Let's see. Were there any players that you saw? Well, actually, first, let me ask you this. The 49ers defense, we gave up, 16 points against the Cardinals. I thought Dobbs' mobility really came to bite us in certain plays. He was able to escape and get first downs. And that's something that you could say every team struggles with, a mobile quarterback. Do you have any concerns with this 49ers defense long term? And I asked that based on the Cardinals having a few 90-yard offensive drives. Do you chalk that up to, hey, the other guys get paid too, they're going to make some plays, or you think there could be a deficiency in this Niners defense?
I think we're seeing teams, they're attacking the Niners defense kind of with the same philosophy, and it's the quick passing game. You got to get the ball out quick. Teams know about this defensive line, Nick Bosa, Javon Hargrave, Eric Armstead. They know about these boys, and if you hold it for 3 seconds, it's too long. So you're seeing teams go to this quick passing game, and the Niners, and Saleh and D'Amico did it too. They play a little bit softer. They don't want to give up the big play. So they give up, the 5-yard hitches, right? The 6-yard curl routes. Like they're giving up some of this stuff. So that's normal. And it's my buddy texted me last night after the game. Shout out Ron. And he said, are there any weaknesses on this team? And I came up with one, and it took me a while to think about, but I came up with one on defense and one on offense. And since we're talking defense, I'm going to give you that one first. But if I were to pick out a weakness on this defense, I'm looking at Ambry Thomas. In the nickel, Demo Lenore goes from outside into the slot corner position. Ambry Thomas comes on the field. You saw him get burnt by the rookie Wilson down the sideline, and it was just like a little like curl and go, a little hitch and go, and Ambry bit on it, and he doesn't have the recovery speed. So, it's like I'm nitpicking. I think this defense is playing really freaking good, but if you ask me what's the weakness on this defense right now, I'm looking at Ambry Thomas and that cornerback position opposite Charvarius.
Yeah, I would agree with you. That's definitely, an area to improve. I thought Ambry had a pretty good camp because I know Ambry was, I guess you could say he fell out of favor with the past defensive coordinator and D'Amico Ryans. And I thought he had a new slate with the new defensive coordinator, Wilkes. And I thought he played pretty well in training camp. He made the team. But he hasn't. He'll get beat definitely on a double move, and like you said, he doesn't have the speed to recover, so that is a problem. Also, with Wilkes' scheme, it's going to allow a lot of those short throws to be completed because we want to just wrap up and tackle and not give up the big play. But I think that's also something with this defense. You rarely see them in zone coverage give up that big play. Now, if it's in man, it's definitely more of a possibility. But I think the defense, the secondary, definitely could have. Definitely, we could add another cornerback, maybe get a PS2. I don't know what that would require in draft compensation, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Niners stick with what we have in the secondary, unless there's like a major injury. Hopefully not. But I think with Wilkes' scheme, we're going to have to kind of just accept that's how it is. We're going to allow the stuff underneath and try to limit the deep plays that the Niners do on offense, right? So I think that's just something that we're going to have to accept. G12, hot diggity dog. What's good, man? Hopefully you're doing all well. Thanks for coming into the stream. Glad to hear you're doing good, Fable. Bluff City Cowboys. What's good? How you doing, man? Bluff City Cowboys. Marcus, excellent Dallas Cowboys content creator. He says that Dobbs has some of the best pocket awareness of any quarterback in the league. Plus, he is off the charts intelligent. He is just catching people off guard until they start respecting him. And he'll probably have the starting job for quite some time since Kyler, I don't think they've opened up his practice window yet. I think he's still scheduled to miss the next few games for the Cardinals. So Dobbs has the ability to prove he belongs as a starting quarterback in the NFL, or at least as a solid backup. So
hey, he looks like a starting caliber, like a lower tier, but he deserves to be a starter in this league from what I've seen from Josh Dobbs this year.
Uh-huh. I would agree. Looks like Randy agrees with us that Ambry has always been the weakest. I would say that. With a good pass rush, usually your secondary will be much better. They don't have to cover as long. And we haven't seen they've been getting pressure. I think Bosa is one of the highest rated edge rushers. Like they'll show on the replay, he's getting pressure. He's not bringing the quarterback down, but he's definitely getting pressure, which is
affecting the play. He's affecting the play. And Jay, yeah.
I was just gonna say, go ahead.
Well, we're still talking Ambry. That's a position where we know the 49ers have made these mid-season moves to bolster their roster for their playoff run, right? Like Emmanuel Sanders, like a Jordan Willis or a Charles Omenihu or a Christian McCaffrey, right? That cornerback position, that might be one where, hey, mid-season – you look at the teams that are out of it. I know a lot of fans have been clamoring for Patrick Surtain. I don't know why the hell the Broncos would get rid of Patrick Surtain. I'd be all for it, but I think that's a little lofty. But I'm keeping my eye on, the cornerback market, because that could be a position where if a team's out of it, a guy's on a 1-year deal expiring, hey, you go out, you bring him in, because we talked about that might be the one weakness. You go out and get a stud. Then now there are no weaknesses on that defense, Jay.
Yeah, absolutely. And I like how Fable mentioned Darrell Luter Jr. and Womack. Those guys are hurt. And I like what Fable said earlier, that I think the depth along the secondary, specifically the cornerback position, I think is a concern. You have two guys that are already out. We don't have a lot of confidence in Thomas. So, and Oliver, I think he's played solid. He definitely had some big plays in the last game. But, I think definitely we could get better. And that always seems like a position where we always get an injury or two every year. It seems like it, unfortunately. We also have Don in the building. What's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream tonight, Don. Let's see, G12. He's got a question for us. He says, so after yesterday's game, player stock up or down? What says you, Barry or Baller? What names come to your mind?
Yeah, stock up is like pretty much the whole freaking team. Like the offensive line, stock up. I thought they blocked really well. Christian McCaffrey, stock up. Brock Purdy, the stock is way up. Brandon Ayuk, stocks in the solar plexus. If you want the stock down, I stock down. Ambry Thomas, he got toasted, gave up a TD, but it's like at this point we're kind of nitpicking.
Yeah.
If Debo looks a little banged up, didn't look like he was moving right yesterday. I guess you could go mini stock down. I don't think it's a long-term stock down because we all know how talented Debo is, but right now I don't think he's at full health. So maybe a little bit stock down on Debo. Colton McKivitz. I mean, is it stock down? It might just be stock is what it is. Gave up another sack yesterday. Juszczyk in the sack McKivitz gave up. Juszczyk slowed down the defensive end, like chipped them. So
Yeah.
McKivitz is getting help, and then Gardanchik, whatever this dude's name is, just does a spin move right around Colton McKivitz, and he didn't even touch him. It's like, Colton, dog, you gotta block him. Get your hands on him. So that's my stock up, stock down for you right there.
Hey, but you got to pay some respect to Gardiak. I mean, I think he leads the Cardinals in sacks. I think he's got at least 4. So I didn't see him in the scouting report before the game.
And he beat Trent one time too. He beat Trent, and had a pressure. I don't know if he definitely beat Trent around the edge. So maybe that dude's just like a low key baller who's going to be like a household name soon. But it's like, Colton, come on, dog.
Hey, he showed off that spin move. He looking like Dwight Freeney or something, man. I mean, he showed it out.
I love me some Dwight Freeney spin moves.
Absolutely. My stock up, I mean, it's got to be Purdy. I mean, we're talking about this guy as an MVP candidate. Yeah, I know it's only 4 games, but Niner fans, we're very excited about Brock Purdy. He's just exceptional at everything. Doesn't make the big mistakes, so it's definitely a huge stock up on Purdy, on CMC, on Ayuk. Stock down. Other than the guys that we've already mentioned, I can't. No name really comes to mind. I mean,
I know.
Yeah,
hey,
I mean,
before
4-0, right?
If the Niners were 0-4, I think we'd have a long
list.
Stock down.
Right.
But hey, this team's 4-0. I mean, we're nitpicking here on stock down.
Yeah. Now, Bluff City had a great question. He says, how has Cleveland Farrell been looking? Is he tapping into any of that potential he showed out of Clemson? As far as the sack numbers, not yet. I think he has had a few flash moments in the games of the first 4 seasons. In last game, I didn't really see him flash, but I like him as an edge rushing depth player. And hopefully he'll continue to get better.
Yeah, I didn't see too much from Farrell yesterday. I do know he got fooled on a play action and chased the running back, and then Dobbs was able to get out of the pocket and complete a pass. So it's like I love it when those DNs keep contained, especially with these mobile quarterbacks. I want to keep those guys in the pocket. But I think overall, Cleveland, I know he had a really strong week 1 against the Steelers. So I think he's doing good. I mean, he was cheap, man. He's not making a ton of money.
Right.
So I think he's been relatively good so far early on.
And expectations were not high for Farrell. He was brought in as a veteran depth player, kind of like an Arden Key 2.0. Obviously, he didn't meet expectations. I think he was like a top 5 pick, I believe.
Yeah.
By the Raiders, right? Yeah,
Raiders.
I think so. Yeah. So he didn't pan out with the Raiders. And so hopefully he can, get a half a dozen sacks, get him another contract in the offseason. But I think he's a solid edge depth player, but we're not expecting him to, lead the team in sacks or anything like that. Got to get into a few people have some questions, but I want to get into, of course, we're talking about Brock Purdy, and I love for the chat to chime in on this as well. And if you guys are enjoying the stream, feel free to hit that thumbs up button. We would appreciate it, and subscribe if you haven't already. But which quarterbacks, would you take over Brock Purdy? And it's crazy that we're even asking this, but that speaks to how well he's been playing through his dozen games that he's played in a Niner uniform. So I'll go first. I would say I would take Justin Herbert over Purdy. Who would you say? Who's the next player you would take over Purdy?
Yeah, I'm gonna go Patrick Mahomes.
Patrick
I'm
Mahomes.
gonna take Patrick Mahomes. Yeah.
And we have the Last Second Sports in the building. What's good? Appreciate you tuning in to the stream tonight. And I would
Hey
go.
Jesse,
Yeah.
Jesse. I gotta fill you in. Last second sports. The stash. It's because I haven't shaved the stash since this season started, and I said, hey, the stash. I feel like there's some good vibes with it. I'm not shaving it off till the Niners drop a game, and that's if they drop a game.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And I think you should keep it. I think it's good luck for the 49ers, clearly. So I would go with Jalen Hurts. Who would you go with next?
And I mean, yeah. And Jay, I don't know if you want to, but I sent you a message on Twitter because I did QB tiers in the off season where I listed every starting quarterback.
I see it.
I put them into QB tiers, and this was before the season started. So some things have changed.
Really? Yeah, because I don't see Purdy. Where's Purdy?
Purdy's on there. Oh, come on now. I wouldn't do my dog.
Oh, yeah, I see. Okay, I see.
You know, I had
he's in third tier.
I got
fourth tier.
Fourth, well, because Mahomes is in a tier of his own
by himself.
But,
right.
But you know, right now, I mean, I'm Jalen Hurts. I'm not even sure if I would put Jalen Hurts over Brock Purdy right now.
Okay, so in Ballers, let me read it. In Ballers quarterback tier, he's got Pat Mahomes at the top. He's got Burrow. He's got Josh Allen next. Then Herbert, Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts. Those are his top 6. So I mean, Tua. Would you take Tua over BP?
You know, that's tight. That's tight. Yeah. Those two are close. You know, No. If I think those two are neck and neck, I'm a side with my boy, right? I'm a Niner fan. So if I think they're even, I'm leaning Brock. Who's the next name you said?
So I said Trevor Lawrence.
No. He's flat out not playing as good as Brock Purdy right now. I'm looking at, kind of this season, maybe with some recency bias. So let me just tell you, it's a very short list of quarterbacks I'm taking over Brock Purdy. Okay, I'm Patrick Mahomes.
Yep.
Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, Lamar Jackson, and I'll give the edge to Hurts, but so that's 5 guys who I got ahead of Brock Purdy right now. And that's it. That's it.
I would agree with you. I would agree. I think Tua, and as Fable kind of mentioned, he's got the head injury history, so obviously, that's an issue, huge issue. But I don't see how you could pick 6 quarterbacks over Purdy based on the dozen games that Purdy has played starting at quarterback for the Niners. I just don't see it. I would agree with you. I would put Purdy top 6. That's where I would put Purdy, right at the end of the top 6.
That's where I got him right now. And Jesse said power rankings or franchise, very different. Purdy in power rankings is way above Burrow, but if you're talking for the franchise, you take Burrow. I'm looking at this exercise as like a right now, this season, and this is not the Joe Burrow that we've come to know and come to love. The calf is severely hampered Joe Burrow. The mobility, his ability to extend plays, which is one of the best things he can do, his ability to throw on the run. He's getting the ball out super quick. And I think a part of that is he doesn't want to get hit, or he knows if he gets flushed out, he's not going to be able to run away from a defensive end. So I'm looking at it as a right now, and Brock Purdy looks way better than Joe Burrow right now.
Yeah, no, I would agree. I would definitely agree with that. But long term, obviously, if both players are healthy, I mean, I think most people would say Burrow. I would have to.
Coming into the year, Joe Burrow he's in my second tier. So I had him and Josh Allen in that second tier right behind Mahomes. Yeah, but right now things have changed.
Absolutely. It is a fluid situation. I gotta say, what's good? We got Shay Martinez in the building. Appreciate you tuning in. We also have Sacrifice TV Gaming, man. I hope all is well. We have Blank in the building. He says Farrell got smacked with the chop block. Okay. We got to get into the Sunday night football game, prime time, against them good old Dallas Cowboys. And if you're in the chat right now, feel free to drop in a key to victory for our 49ers this Sunday night against them good old Dallas Cowboys. And E, let's start off with you. Give me one key to victory for the 49ers to win over the Cowboys, and also feel free to give me a score prediction.
You got to block that front. You know, the Cowboys, they got one of the best defenses along with the Niners in the league. You know, you start off with Micah Parsons, who I believe got nicked up. I think came up with a knee injury after this week, or with the ankle. I don't think it's super serious, but maybe enough to slow him down for a week, or maybe we'll see. You got to expect Micah Parsons to play. And then a guy who doesn't get talked about enough, you know, it feels like he's been just a really good freaking player for like a decade, is DeMarcus Lawrence. You know, so they got those two bookends, and, you know, Jonathan Hankins is a big boy in the middle. You know, yeah, they did lose Diggs, you know, who's a playmaker at the cornerback position, but it's like, hey, they still got Stephon Gilmore. You know, they still got Malik Hooker, who I think is a good safety. You know, Deron Bland is a good player. You know, their linebacking core, Leighton Vander Esch, he's been around. So there's, you know, Stephon Gilmore is a really good player outside. It's a talented defense. Offensively, you know, Dak Prescott, this guy's turnover prone.
Yeah.
You know, he will turn the ball over. And Tyron Smith is banged up, that offensive line, I don't know if he's going to be back or not, but that offensive line is not 100% healthy. So if you're saying Nick Bosa is going up against a backup, I like my chances there. You know, I think the Niners are going to get a pick or two off of Dak. I would say, okay, let's get back to keys to victory. Stop Tony Pollard. Key number one. Tony Pollard, he's a dynamic running back. That dude, he's really talented. His acceleration, like I hate the Cowboys, but I like Tony Pollard. I was able to scoop him up on a couple teams because he's just really freaking talented. He's got that burst, that acceleration, the vision. So key number one, you got to stop Tony Pollard.
No, absolutely. I was thinking, is he going to mention Tony Pollard? Because he had me nervous in the playoff game last year against the Cowboys, because he was running really well against us. And it's unfortunate that he suffered that injury, but definitely got to contain Pollard. He's got to be priority number one. I think containing Dak, not allowing him to escape the pocket like Dobbs did last week, and extend plays and find open receivers. That's something that we always struggle with. But I think containing Pollard, containing Dak, that's going to be huge for us. And I think Brock Purdy's going to have to continue to not turn the ball over. I think that'll go a long way in securing a victory for the Niners. Got to say, what's good? We got Sean Tuber in the building, man. Thanks for tuning in to the stream. Now we got some insider news from Bluff City Cowboys. He says that Tyrone probably won't be playing the big. He's still at left tackle, right? Or did they move
he's
him
locked
right?
in at left tackle.
He's locked in at left. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's interesting news. Okay. Shea Martinez says a key to victory is keeping Hargrave healthy and fired up. All right.
Hey, he's looked so freaking phenomenal this year. Javon Hargrave, he's been worth every penny. Well, I think he has 3 sacks on the year already, but it's the chaos that he's causing, collapsing the pocket. I mean, that lower half is so thick and so strong that he's bullying these guards.
Yeah.
Pause. And he's dominating. He's a force to be reckoned with. It is big time acquisition that is paying dividends.
No, I agree, man. He's as advertised, money well spent. And I think it's helping Javon Kinlaw. I mean, I know we're not expecting much from Kinlaw, but I think, hey, Kinlaw comes in and plays 20, maybe 22 snaps, maybe 15 snaps, takes on double teams, is able to. He's been getting after the quarterback as well. So, hey, it's great all around to have a collaborative unit that guys come in and they can still produce. So. Definitely exciting to watch. Shea feels that Pollard cannot run through the middle no more. Okay. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, he looked pretty good last year when we played him. Jag says the key is getting at least 150 rushing yards to control the clock. All right. And CMC has been averaging, I think, 117 rushing yards a game. So we can definitely get that. Bluff City had a key. He said, run in the C gap. Our linebackers can't get there, and our ends outside of D-Law are undisciplined in the run game. Okay. All right. Well, we'll see if Shanahan exploits that. Because I know Bluff City's on his game. I know he watches the Cowboys religiously, so he knows them inside and out. So let's see. Oh, what was your score prediction? And feel free, if you're in the comments right now, feel free to drop your score prediction of the Niners and Cowboys game this Sunday night.
You know, the question is, Jay, are the Niners going to get to 30 again? Right? They got this streak of putting up 30 points on the board. They're playing, already mentioned it, you know, one of the top defenses in the league. So, you know, I think the streak gets broken. I think it's going to be a Niners win, and I'm going 27-21.
I think the Niners streak of scoring 30 points will continue, and I think because Dak, he's going to make that critical mistake, whether it's an interception, whether it's a fumble. He's prone to doing that, and I think this is a turnover-hungry defense, and I think we'll score 31 points, and I think Dallas will probably score about 21. So I think the Niners win 31-21. The Smitty says the Niners win 37-20. Fable says Armstead deserves a lot of praise for his efforts this year. Absolutely. It's not always what you see on the stat sheet, especially in the trenches. Bluff City says Zach Martin is banged up. He missed week 3 with an ankle. He toughed it out to play last night, and now he has a thigh bruise that has us concerned. Oh, wow. Okay. So that doesn't sound well for the Cowboys run game or protecting Dak for that matter. And Bluff City said the Cardinals exploited it big time. Yeah, because Connor ran pretty well against you guys, but Connor, that's a big back, and there's no doubt he's very, very talented. We got some more score predictions. Jags got the Niners winning 24-20. G12, 23-23 tie. Come on, G12. You better than that, man. Come on now. Shea Martinez got the Niners winning 36-24. Sean Tuber's got the Niners winning 31-17. Fable says, I think we flirt with 30. Defense has to hold them to less than 24 and we will win. And I think we can do that. I definitely think we can do that. We reached an hour. Hey, E, were there any other topics we didn't hit tonight or something that you had pressing on your mind that you had to bring up tonight?
Hey, Jay, you know, I always look forward to Mondays talking ball with you. You know, shout out to Kelts and Amin. You know, hopefully we get those guys back next week. I know they wanted to be here, but, you know, hopefully they make it back next week. You know, looking at just from a statistical perspective, the Cowboys, they got the second least amount. They're giving up the second least amount of passing yards, meaning that their pass defense has been really good. Only the Browns have given up less passing yards than the Cowboys. And that goes back to that defensive front we were talking about. They're really good on the defensive side of the ball. But yards per carry, Jay, the Cowboys are giving up 4.6 yards per carry, which, you know, it's bottom 10. It's like bottom 7 in the league. So they're giving it up on the ground a little bit, at least from a yards per carry perspective. So, you know, maybe that ground and pound approach might be the way to go. And then once you start running the ball, right, what does that open up? Starts opening up the play action. So let's look for the Niners to continue this ground game. Christian McCaffrey, hey, man, you know, I think he's an MVP favorite right now, and let's feed that man.
No, absolutely. It's going to be a heavy dose of CMC at Levi's. Can't wait for Sunday night. We may have overlooked someone in the quarterback power rankings, though. I have to bring this to your attention.
Please.
Someone said Jared Goff has been balling. Have we missed Jared Goff in the tier? Have we missed him? Is he better than Purdy?
No. He's not. Hey, shout out to Jared Goff. I work in Berkeley. He's a Cal Bear. I got love for my Bears. Shout out A-Rod. But no, Jared Goff, there's levels to it. And Jared Goff, while he is playing some of the best ball of his career, and he does get a big-time weapon back in Jameson Williams. So, the Lions, if you're looking at, NFC contenders, right? It's the 49ers, it's the Eagles, it's a clear top two. And then after that, I think it is the Lions next. If you're asking me who's the third best team in the NFC, I'm gonna say Lions. That pass rush has been getting after it. Aiden Hutchinson, and they're, like I said, they're getting Jameson Williams to add to, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and this kid in the slot, Sam Laporta. I'm a big Laporta guy. At pre-draft, I was telling people Sam Laporta, he's like a Dallas Clark clone. Right, the former Indianapolis Colt great, and I feel like some of that is coming to fruition because we're seeing Laporta. The kid's a playmaker at the tight end position. That being said, there's levels to it, Jay.
Absolutely, and I would say their offensive line is legit. They love to run the ball with Montgomery 30 plus times. I don't know what they're doing with Gibbs. I guess they're bringing him along slowly, but. Hey, if the team's willing to run the ball 30 to 35 times and play solid defense, and Goff doesn't make the bad decision, the interception, they're going to be in some games. They could win that NFC North division, but as you said,
I think they will.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, we appreciate everyone tuning in to the stream tonight. We appreciate it if you hit that thumbs up button, if you subscribe to Jay in the Bay Area Baller 18, Kelts Chronicles, the Dream, Straight Out of the Bay. We got all those channels. Can't wait till we come back next Monday night, reacting to the Cowboys and Niners game. Hopefully Amin and Kelts can join us as well. But yeah, we appreciate everyone tuning in, especially if you left comments. We love to interact with you guys. So, hey, any last words? Bay Area Baller 18. Do you have anything going on your YouTube channel this week that you want people to tune in? Hey, the floor is yours.
Hey, make sure you guys are subscribe to the channel. I've been going live. Yesterday I was at the game, so I didn't go live with Larry, but usually you can catch a post-game show on my channel as well as Larry's, and that's right after the game concludes. So make sure you subscribe to the channel. I might mix in something, Sundays and Mondays, I'm live every time, Sunday, Monday, I'm going to try to mix in a show here later on in the week. But hey, Jay, I always have a blast talking with you. I look forward to it every Monday, and the chat was live. So we appreciate all you dudes in the chat.
Hey, absolutely. Like Fable says, I love that you guys keep up with the comments. It's hella interactive, and I love it. Yeah, that's what we strive for. And I got to admit, it's a little bit easier to do when there's, only two people, streaming. But hey, we appreciate it. Love to have people watch the stream and contribute. That's what it's all about. But yeah, man, I'm looking forward to the game this Sunday night. Can't wait for it. It's on prime time. It's the only game that's going to be live, and I can't wait to see the Niners and Cowboys rivalry again. And yeah, man, I think the Niners going to take care of business though, and we will see you guys back next Monday night. Hey, go Niners.
Up. Yee! We getting it, boy.
What's good? You know who it is. It's your boy, Jay in the Bay.
Your baller back again. Smells like football season.
Yo.